All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Man in the Middle. This is the show where mothers and men meet in the middle to have real conversations about raising boys, building men, and finding solutions. I'm your host, Ab Judah. In today's discussion, we're talking about boys and the mothers that support them. As a man whose mother tried her hardest to protect her sons, I have firsthand experience in this realm. Both those two, and especially as a son of an immigrant mother, my experience might be a little bit more unique than even Chaz's. We'll both get into that, right? And watching her do the push and pull as far as like protecting her kids and letting them go, and like how far do I push, how much do I hold on? But we'll get back into that story later. I want to introduce the crew for the night. We have our moderator Yada.
Hey.
We have our co-host for the night, Chaz. Salute to
Peace.
Chaz. And we have a new guest on the show who has she's making her first appearance. Felicia is here with us as well. Give Felicia a round of applause.
Peter, hey.
Hey.
All right. So before we jump into the conversation, Felicia, since this is your first time, if you wouldn't mind giving yourself a quick introduction, uh, and then we'll go from there.
Hey y'all, I'm Felicia. I am a mom of two. My son is 18 and my daughter is 7. Born and raised in the DMV, and I also create content.
Bingo. Bingo. All right. So Yada, tonight our conversation is about I guess finding ways to help mothers uh, learn when is the right time to let go versus,
Mm-hmm.
hold their kids tight. So I got a couple clips that I kind of want to introduce to just kind of get the conversation started. And then we'll get everybody's, thoughts and opinions on it first. All right. So
Sounds good.
Incompetent, always depending on a woman to.
let's go back.
The women that coddle their boy children don't realize how much damage they're actually doing. Most of the time, these boys they grow up to be incompetent, always depending on a woman to survive, because they were not given the basic life skills necessary to thrive. Most of the times, these young men they grow up without a father in the home, and they were raised solely by their mothers. Both parents are equally as important, but boys, they need their dads. I've seen this affect people in my own family, uncles, my own brother. How their mothers coddling them still affects them to this day. And most of the time, they don't even realize that it's a problem. Always dependent on their mother, never fully separate from them. A lot of the times, these men they create broken families because they were not given the tools necessary to thrive on their own. And majority of these mothers that coddle their boy children, oftentimes they put all the pressure onto their daughters while not pouring into their sons. Whether it's with cleaning or cooking, they just write it off and say that's only for girls to do. Everybody needs basic survival skills.
All right. So let's start with this first question, right? And the question says, where is the line between protecting and overprotecting? Um,
Good question.
so, Yada, if you want to get us started, you can, and then we'll go
Yeah,
around.
sure. I think for me, OG mom, my son is older than me. Um, I think the line that I drew with him from protecting and overprotecting is when it becomes like a safety concern. So like I feel like my job first and foremost is to keep you alive. Like I have to keep you alive, I have to keep you safe. And then it's like, oh, on top of that, fed, clothed, housed, those things. So I think that when it's there are concerns of safety, I feel like I absolutely have to step in as a mom, even at this stage. Like, and my son is 24 years old, but like even at this stage, I have to step in. But like as he was growing up, it's kind of like that remembering where I was, how I was as a teenager and wanting to, find my own way, learn more about myself, explore. And it got to a point where you have to kind of, hey, if it's not going to kill him, it might not go the way he wants it to go, but it's a lesson that he needs to learn, or he will learn from it if it doesn't. And so that's kind of how I took it, where it's just all about safety. Beyond that, shoot your shot, see what happens.
Okay, good. Felicia, what's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, um, I feel like I am a borderline coddler, but I realized when my son entered his senior year last year that I tried to change the direction of the conversations that I was having with him, as opposed to giving him the tools and the tips and the talks all the time. I would just ask him more so about like, well, where do you see yourself going? What type of person are you? And then you need to start making decisions based on that. And then I would let him make his own decisions. I might try to course correct along the way, but I also, in addition to providing him with the food, the clothes, the stuff like that, I want to also give him a vision of who do you need to be successful, right? Because these kids have access to a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't. So they see people with money and cars, whether it's real or not. They just think it's instantaneous. Like, oh, I can go and get it. And some kids are out here going to get it. So I just try to give him the tools to be a good person that's doing that. And then I step back and say, all right, now I gave you what you need. Go ahead and do it. And then I just chill and see what the results are. But it is hard as a single mom to not call her your black.
Chaz, what was your experience with that? Like, how did your mother operate with y'all?
She pretty much, single mom, of course. So she did, with the example she just gave, she gave you the tools and everything you needed to know. And then afterwards, the consequences is on you, because I did my part, you know what I'm saying? So it was like that with us, and I think it helped because after you hit your head a few times, you like, what she was saying made sense. So I'm gonna either continue to go down this route or I'm gonna chill. Luckily for me, I just said, I'm gonna chill because I seen the logic behind it, and she was good at giving me the logic behind what the decisions we'll make. So like, I know, like, even me having children later in my life, I had them later in my life. That was because she kind of gave me a good logic to look at it, as to where it's like, I'm not going to mess up. Y'all have children at a young age. Don't look to me to help. Or, what I'm saying? It was something like that. That was almost worse than you used to go to these plays and sex ed about and all that. And don't get me wrong, that was a big factor too, like, diseases. But that her voice was always in the back of my head, like, damn, if I do this I'm 16 years old, I mess up now, I ain't gonna have no support. It was one of those things. So I just kind of weighed my options. But she, like she said, she gave me the tools beforehand, and after that, the decision was mine. So she was kind of that type of mom, and I think it helped for me for sure.
What age were you when you decided to stop bumping your head?
Oh man, for me early, since I was the oldest brother. So for me, I kind of, if you would, kind of try to walk. She would say I was sneaky. She would say I was sneaky, right? But if I was going to do a crime or get in trouble, no one has to know about it. And I kind of kept it like that. So on the grand scheme of things, I was young. Like, I'm talking 14 early, because I didn't want to disappoint her or disappoint, the examples that I had in my life. So if I was to do something that was off script or down a bad road, I kind of did the dirt by my lonely, so no one really would know about it. But yeah, I kind of learned early because I was, the oldest, so I had the responsibility of helping her out with bills and things of that nature. So I had to kind of straighten up quick, so I can kind of help her out around the house and things of that nature. So yeah.
I had what you call like a scary mom. Like, my mom was, because I think part of it was her being a single mother for a majority of my life. Another part of it is that she's an immigrant, right? Mm-hmm. So like, her only experiences with the outside world is the things she see on the news, right? Mm-hmm. So she's scared of everything, right? So like, all the experiences that I was having, my brother was having, we were the first to have them, right? So she was just like, look out for this, look out for this. She was sending articles, and it's like, like, stop, like, what are you doing? Like, so like, all of the things that I was into, the things that I was doing that she probably had, she has no idea about, like Chaz was saying, like I had to be sneaky. Like I wasn't trying to, I didn't want her to know about all of these things because I knew how scared she was. You know what I mean? Like I knew how like on eggshell she was about me and my brother's movements. Plus, my brother was a lot more like loose with it than I was.
Man.
He was,
So dope.
you know what I'm saying? He was doing a lot. You know what I mean? So like, and that kind of shielded me because like anything if I'm not doing, as long as I'm not doing that, I'm good. You know what I mean? I always fell under the umbrella where like
Lesser of two evils.
yeah. Listen, you might have an issue when I'm doing a little bit, but I never did that before. It's only so upset. It's only so mad as you could be like with me. So like, I kind of learned to kind of create my own, because she tried to make things so easy. Like she tried to, she bust her ass to try to make things so easy and so smooth for us. It was kind of like, this is too easy. Like I need some friction. So I was looking for friction. You know what I mean? I was looking for some like challenges for like, yeah, like bro, like you. And I think that's like part of being a man. Like you don't want to feel like you had it so easy when you around men and they telling their stories, you can't relate because you're everybody. Yeah. It's like I don't want you to give me nothing. Like I don't want no handouts. I don't want none of that. Like I want to figure it out on my own. Even if you give me the blueprint, it's like, yeah, your blueprint is cool, but like I need to figure out my own blueprint. You know what I mean? So like that's what it was for me. It was kind of like I was kind of rebellious because it's like, bro, I don't want it that way.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take your advice and I'm gonna listen to certain things, but I'm gonna go bump my head a couple times. I'm gonna figure it out. I like to work my way through it. Like, let me see how. Plus, I used to think I was smarter than everybody. You know, that was. You know what I'm saying? I had a little bit.
Used to.
Yeah, I had that arrogance where I felt like I'm smarter. I can. This shit ain't work for you, but like I'm way smarter than you. So like, I can figure this shit out. And sometimes it worked. Most times it like that's just, you know what I'm saying, my experience with her. The next, to move on in the conversation, next question says, do you think that boys need more nurturing or more challenges in today's world? I guess we can start with the moms first.
I feel like they need more knowledge. It's like they're not. My son is so green, and what you learn in school is not necessarily going to prepare you for the challenges you're going to experience. It's his freshman year in college, so I'm like trying to talk to him about basic ways to take care of yourself. How do you prepare? Like, we didn't learn about credit, we didn't learn about finances, we didn't learn, we don't talk too much about politics, about government, what's really happening in the world. And so I feel like he's already going to experience challenges as a Black man who just walked on this earth. And so I think I'm naturally a nurturing mom, but I'm also the one that's like, let's sit down, let's have this conversation. We need to talk about this because you're not moving as an intelligent being right now. So I'm gonna break this down for you. And what you do with this, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you, you can't say you didn't learn it. So I think they need knowledge. The girls too.
Agreed. I think there needs to be a balance. Like there needs to be a balance between the two. Like I definitely am not necessarily like a proponent of me being the person who introduces more challenges because, like Felicia said, like it's already, life is challenging enough. Like life is whooping our ass right now. So I want to be kind of like that, calm from the storm versus me being a part of it. Like I feel like you're going to deal with all of this in life. I want him to be able to get some type of solace from me, but also while, kind of giving him the game at the same time, because like he needs that. He needs that knowledge. He needs that understanding of what, and I mean, we do that. We have like the kind of like, our little real rap conversations, and we've been doing it for a long time to where it's like, especially when we're alone, because I do have a daughter. My daughter's almost 16. So it's like with them being 8 years apart, he had a good run of being an only child before she came around. So, I didn't want everything to be centered around the baby now that she's here, but it's like now as he was getting older, I have to make sure I carve out our time too, where we can talk about anything. Like, so I want him to feel like, I'm not trying to make things harder for you. I want you to understand how hard things are going to be. It's not always going to go your way. So you need to be accustomed to, hitting brick walls sometimes and learning how to navigate outside of that. But I also still want to show you that love and care for you to know that, it's always home with mom. You can always come home with mom and we figure it out. Like I'm in your corner, versus me, kind of adding to that.
All right. I just want to say I do believe it's balanced, right? So being the oldest, right? I noticed. So I gave that example like what my mom would say, right? She would give me, those consequences, right? And I never really wanted to kind of test it, right? But then as I got older, seeing my other siblings, I realized, oh man, a lot of it was taught to a degree. Like she did create a space to where if you did fail, it was a soft landing. She gave that type of safe space, and that's really what is nurturing. It don't mean necessarily coddling. Sometimes nurturing do mean, listen, this is a safe space. I give you a soft space to land. If you do mess up, I'm here for you. And I kind of seen that, especially with my younger siblings. And I know she had my back, but when they failed, mama never quit, right? She was always there for them or whatnot. But the challenge was almost like a hard push to fly. And that's what she created. Like, I'm going to push you hard so you can fly. So that was the balance in it, right? And then like the knowledge piece too, that's key. And that when you create that balance, then that's when knowledge and information is passed down to you. And now you know how to make the right decision. So I'm going to go with the 50-50 for real on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all cheating, man.
Would you take a poll?
Y'all just cheated. I like that though. That's I see what y'all did there. Now let's go to the next part of the conversation. How does coddling show up differently for sons versus daughters?
Like, I can't say for myself because I'm really not a coddler. Like I'm really like a hey, like my quote I be telling like other grown folks is like, look, I don't sugarcoat shit for my kids. I'm not about to do it for grown folks. So I'm not heavy on coddling per se because I feel like it does create, more of a monster than it does, helping. But I feel like in general, like I really don't try to show difference between mine. My daughter is, her teenage growing pains are a lot different than my son's were, and she tests me a whole lot more than him. So I have times where I have to be tougher on her, not because she's a girl, but because she just be playing in my face. But like him, where he tried it, it's like it only really took one time for different scenarios. He tried it that one time. He saw mom wasn't rocking. Okay, let me move on to something else. So like I think for him, what I see a lot of people do is they act like it's just such a different dynamic between raising sons and raising daughters. And I'm like, nah, I feel like a lot of times it's, raising the daughters, but it's more, the boys get a lot more, of that from their moms. Stereotypically, I can't quote numbers, I don't know, but I mean that seems to be like a common thing where the boys get it a lot softer than the girls. The girls are just getting policed, and that's why people have this, idea that it's easier raising boys than it is girls. And I'm like, I feel like that's just because you feel like you don't have to give him that care and attention and nurturing that you would like, a daughter. It's like, I could just let him go do his thing because he won't bring home a baby. But I'm like, but if he knocks somebody up, that's his baby. Like he's not bringing it to your house per se, but he's not coming home pregnant, but he's coming home with a kid on the way. So what's the difference? Like that type of stuff. So I definitely think that the girls get it, the boys get more coddling than the girls, but that gets no play in this ride. Like, no.
I never understood that logic because if he could have multiple kids in 1 year, like your daughter could only have one at a time for real. Like, gonna be out here spreading his seed throughout the whole
it feeds into the narrative that the onus of that responsibility is going to be on her. Like you be talking to single moms on the show, so a lot of times women naturally end up taking on that responsibility because they say mama's baby, papa's maybe for a reason because daddy might be around, daddy might not be around, but moms really there are some. But that's really not the majority. That's more the exception than the rule. Like you're going to have more women that are just like, okay, I got to make it happen. We don't really have the luxury of saying, well, I'll do what I can, or I might show up, I might not. Like we have to do it. So,
which I think it is. This is kind of sidebar, but like I know in some cultures in Africa, like when the parents divorce, the father takes the whole family. He takes the whole family.
They do that in Islam too.
Yeah, like
Muslim men keep children.
Do you think that would change the shit if that was like
100%.
I experienced that. When my
Yes.
parents split up, my sibling, me and my siblings were living with my dad for a while, and my mom went and kind of reestablished herself. And that's just the dynamic. And Muslim households, like, that happens a lot. If there is a split, that dads will take those kids. So yeah, it was a different dynamic then. The only difference is that for me, my dad remarried, and that made the dynamic kind of because she was and so that just wasn't it. But I feel like, I mean, it definitely, I could see where that would be a whole different dynamic versus. And my mom wasn't an easy mom. She wasn't letting everything slide, like that or whatever, especially not with me and my sister. But I could see how that dynamic would be different, because my dad was really like, he ain't play like at all.
Yeah. What's crazy is, though, coming up, I used to see, I don't know how the dynamic is now, but for the longest, I used to see moms and daughters always would not get along. Like, I see that a lot in my family, where the moms and the daughter, just for some reason, the mom, especially my, great grandparents and back then, was always favoring the sons, and then with their daughters, it was always beef. I never really understood that. Is that dynamic still the same now? Or have y'all seen that coming up?
Oh, for sure. I experienced it myself. I love my mom. Like, our relationship is great now.
Right.
But growing up, and my brother is 6 years older than me. So I watched him get to do a whole bunch of things. He got a car in high school. He's driving around. He got to do no curfew, all of the things. And I'm like, oh, yes, great. This is what my life is going to be like when I get 15, 16. It was a hell no. You cannot get a car. You cannot get a tattoo. You cannot stay out late. You cannot date. You cannot have boys over. You got boys calling the house. You can't have nobody calling this house. So it was like a double standard. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, damn, like, is it me? Like, is it because of my personality? Is it something that I'm doing differently? Do you think I'm more risk averse? Like, what is it that makes you want to treat me different? And it did cause me to be a little bit hostile, and it made me act out more, because I felt like, well, if I can't do it in your face like he did, I would just go behind your back and do it. And then that just made her even go harder. Like, nah, like, we about to fight.
Cycle now.
I'm fighting you because you're not about to act out. And I'm like, well, let's fight. So it was like that. And I think now that I have a daughter, there's 11 years between my kids, so she hasn't even gotten to the point where she's testing me or anything like that. But my son never really had an attitude. He's very nonchalant, which is like, on one hand, it's like, okay, cool, he's not going to argue with me. But on the other hand, like, do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand? Are you taking it in? Do you receive it? Because everything is like, okay, yeah. And her personality, my daughter's personality, is way more like, she always speaks her mind. She always has something to say. So I feel like it's going to be different when she gets to be a teenager. But I still want to have like the same values, the same rules that he had, the same expectations for if you do date and I meet this person. I'm not about to put you out here at 18 and you ain't never dated a person in your life and I expect you to know how to do it. You ain't never learned it. So it's better to teach certain things before they get out into the world and the world teach you. So I think that's part of the issue with moms, is they teach their sons a lot of stuff at home, but the daughter is just, you need to learn how to be independent, go to college, get a job, get a husband. And it's like, well, how I do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that even looks like, Mom. You're not doing it. So I think that was the issue with me.
Damn.
My daughter holds me accountable for, well, my brother got to do this when he was this age. So like, she told, like, well, Mom, when I'm 16, I should be allowed to date, because my brother was allowed to date when he was 16. And I'm just like, who told you this? Because when he was 16, you were 8 and you were not in the business. But like, she will make sure. But I mean, I had no intent of making it unfair. It was unfair for me, like with my sister, really, because she's a couple years older than me. So I ended up getting to do certain things earlier just because my mom was letting her do them, and she went ahead and let me slide too. And my sister was getting pissed, like, I had to be 16 and she's 14. How can she get? And I'm like, don't hate to play the game, but now it's like, now that I feel like the rules I impose for my son at certain age milestones, she got to get the same thing, and I want it to be fair.
I don't believe where it's like a case by case basis. Like like me and my brother, for example, we had the same upbringing essentially, but like it was still different. Like the pacing was different. The leash was longer here for this person versus, and like I didn't like it, but I understood it.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if I think that every kid should have the same like blue. I
It
don't
don't have to be the same, but it should be
fair.
fair.
It's fair. It should be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just based on behavioral nuances. So it's like if she's
Mhm.
more, like you said, risk averse, I guess. So if she's doing too much, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna have the same level of responsibility on you because I think that certain things are responsibilities and not necessarily your right. Like you want to get your driver's permit license and stuff. That's a privilege. That's not just you automatically. So you got to handle business first before you can do that, before you can get an after school job. Anything outside of the requirements that you really to go to school, get good grades, things like that. So if I don't see that you are handling business, then no, you're not going to get the leeway. But it's like in certain just general things, like, you know, I didn't let him get tattoos till he was 18. Like, okay, you can get a tattoo when you can sign for it, that type of stuff. So her asking me at 16, can you get a tattoo? Absolutely not. Like stuff like that. There's no behavior that she's going to do that's going to make me change my mind on that. But like other things, she might have had more leeway than him based on her behavior, and there's things he might have had more leeway based on his behavior at the time. But I do try to make it fair.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Chaz, you had something else you want to say?
No, I mean I agree. I think it is case to case basis too, as long as it's fair. But like you said, case to case, you know what I'm saying? Because my brother or my sister, I understand. I do understand. Like for my sister, oh, they got to do this. It's yes, we did, but please don't go that route. Be better than us, you know. and then you're a black woman, man. We really just want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, you taken care of. It's just a different type of love. So the leash may be different on her versus us. You know what I'm saying? You know, especially at 16 house parties, be better than us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Be better than that.
I get it, but you know what I'm saying? So,
especially when it's an age gap. When it's an age gap, it's like there's different things that's a concern that may not have been a concern at that point. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like you can't necessarily do everything the same because it's like, I don't know, like everything is not going to be the same. The circumstances are not going to be the same.
Yeah, like he wasn't in the social media era at the age that it came up on her. So like she couldn't get an Instagram. I'm like, when you're old enough, when you can use your real birthday and get an Instagram, you know, then we'll talk. But like for him, that wasn't really a factor when he was the same age. So we didn't go through that. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. So let's check out. I got another clip I want y'all opinion on. Let's see if I can pull this up properly.
On The Devouring Mother,
There we go.
moms loving their baby and wanting to protect them get great validation and purpose from that.
Indeed.
And then as the boys grow and no longer need them, they keep hamstringing them so that they'll keep mothering them. And this is the devouring mother. And the devouring mother needs to be needed. And she keeps her boy from growing up and growing strong. She keeps him soft so that she's needed. And though the initial impulse was, I love him and want to protect him, you end up destroying him because you make him so soft he's not ready for the world ahead. This is the worst part for this woman. It's not that she is neutering her son and the future man who will grow up to be a bad husband and a bad father. That's not the worst of it for her. You will lose your son 100% of the time. And this is why. He'll either grow up to be just a man-child in your basement, so you succeeded, you kept your baby forever, or two, he will eventually resent you because you didn't let him become a man. And then one day, he will no longer speak to you.
Yeah.
All right. So my mom she wasn't a devouring mother, but there was moments where I started to develop like a sense of like resentment almost. I was like, yo, you doing too good of a job. Like, relax.
Hey, go ahead.
It's like, because I don't know, like as a man, you want to be, you need that, like, I don't know, like I felt like, and then at a point she started blaming me for not knowing how to do certain. It's like, yo, you got some audacity. Are you serious?
Like I had to learn.
It's like, bro, where was she going? Like, you know what I mean? She tried to take so many things off my plate that I never, I had to learn. I had to force myself into, certain things, learning certain things. So like, I don't know, my learning curve was different. So she wasn't to that extent. She did try to make things easy for me, but I had to fight. There was a bit of a fight at certain points. So the question is like, what damage does it do when a boy feels like emotionally responsible for his mother?
Which can you put some parameters on that? What you mean by emotionally responsible?
I feel like, and I've seen this before, like instances where it's a mom, maybe there's no man in the picture, and they become like friends. So now like you are like you telling him your personal business, you walking through him with situations that's none of his business for real, and he's like carrying that with him, like, or he's seeing like I've seen that too. So it's almost like, what is that?
That's scary.
That firsthand in my own family, and it started when this person was super young. And she even said, yeah, I don't talk to him like he's my son. I talk to him as if he's my friend. And he grew up and he speaks to her like very disrespectfully. Because he feels like he's the man of the house. He feels like he runs that ship. And then as time went along, he started getting in trouble and all of the things. I just think it changes that power dynamic. Now that that's your friend, now you can't really control your friends. And I think that's what ends up happening in those situations.
Yeah, dissolve that respect, that level of respect that comes with I am the mom, you're the child. I don't care if you grown, understand it's a dynamic here and you're going to respect that while also giving the respect, especially as they get older. But I think that's you're gonna create some type of monster. It's either you're gonna have a kid with an Oedipus complex where it's kind of like my mama, my woman, and that creates unhealthy situations down the line when they do get into relationships, get serious, get married, they have a wife. Because though you see those conversations come up on social media all the time where they're asking, hey, if your mama did this and your mom and your wife hanging off a cliff, who you gonna say? Like it's just like once he has his own family, he has to tend to that family, and you shouldn't feel like you're in competition with that. And I think when you create that type of dynamic, you put him in turmoil because he's feeling like, if y'all don't get along, y'all bump heads about anything, whose back am I gonna have? Because that's my mom, and I have this, eerily emotional, responsibility and connection for her versus what I should have for my wife. It shouldn't be like that with my mom. So it's definitely dangerous to do that. It hinders them in the future. And I just think that there should always be boundaries, like real live rigid boundaries when it comes to that. Your child, we are Black moms. You already know I'm not one of your little friends. It's a staple in this household. So I'm not your friend. I'm not your homegirl. You are not my man. I'm not crossing those boundaries. Even as an adult, we have adult conversation. We have a mutually respectful adult relationship, but I'm still not going to be like, so let me tell you what this nigga did to me. We're not about to do that. Like, no, you still my child. Like, you're not a child, but you my child. And no.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it said. Usually in those situations, the child never gets to become a child, right? Because he ends up being, a lot of times a therapist. Now he becomes your protector, and like you said, someone said the husband now, and he only 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? So he never really gets to build his own identity. So that is damaging. It really damaging to the boy's core, for real. Like you say, can't keep a house now because now the wife or your lady is always competing with moms. So it's never going to end up healthy. Again, even with it's a balance, right? And I could have been on that spectrum, not to the point I'm damaged, but to some degree, I became a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't get all into the weeds with her life, but there's certain things that, as the oldest child and helping out in the house, I was privy to. So, yeah, I'm responsible way early. You know what I'm saying? So now a lot of stuff, I'm considered a late bloomer. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm too busy worrying about that. Mom's gonna be all right, we're good, lights gonna be on, the siblings gonna be straight. You know what I'm saying? Now my identity ain't really there. But yeah, man, it could be damaging. Like I said, she wasn't to that point to where I didn't have my own identity. Like, my wife don't compete with her, so we good on that. But I could see how bad it can get. Because even on my level, it's like, all right, I'm a therapist today. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Let me give some spiritual words of wisdom real quick and get you off your cliff. Be good. But yeah, so but I can see that can get bad though, for real.
Yeah, I think the challenge for real come where, like, as a man, you feel the need to protect the women that are around you. And your mother is one of those women. So, like, even though that's not technically your responsibility, right, in the natural order, we're not always in the natural way of things. So, like, you might assume responsibility, and because y'all have a relationship that's so familiar, she might be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, even me now, almost a 40-year-old man, like, I don't have, my mother is now starting to open up with me in ways in conversations we've never had before. And now it's becoming uncomfortable because it's like, you never spoke to me like this. Why are you talking to me like this now? Like, I don't know if I want to be a part of this conversation. Like, I appreciate it because now, like, it's leading me to understand that the dynamics of our relationship are changing and she's respecting me more as an adult. But it's still kind of like weird because we never had these conversations, fam. I never once ever in my life confused my mom as a friend. That was never nothing. That line was never blurred. I understood exactly what our dynamic was. There was no confusion there. So now when it's becoming a little bit more friendly and I don't want to say peers, we're not peers, but like there's certain conversations I can have with her now that I didn't have the capacity to have 10, 15 years ago. It's just a shift in everything. And it's so, like, you can lose yourself, especially as a young man, in like wanting to make sure that your mother is good, that she's taken care of. And you know what I mean? That becomes a priority. Like, it's important. You know what I mean? I remember being away at school, and you know what I'm saying? I'm away at school, she in the house by herself, and I'm thinking about, like, damn, hope she all right, hope she good. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing, like thinking about your mom. Like, you're supposed to be away at school enjoying your you know, your time, but you thinking about, damn, I hope she's safe. Like, she never been in the house by herself for real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even certain things that she don't know that you're doing to make sure when she fall asleep, you double back and making sure the door's locked, you checking this and that, and you know what I'm saying? Like, little things. And when you're not there to do it no more, you like, damn, this shit getting done.
I mean, but that's gonna be natural anyway, you know, because she don't even have to say nothing. You just study. You just watch and study. Like you said, she is by herself. And I started thinking like that, especially with my sister. She went off to school, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, she by herself. You know, man, she good. You know, if I'm in the area, let me drive around there just to see. I ain't got to knock on the door sometimes. Just drive through, make sure she good. See the car. All right, bet she's straight. But it becomes natural now because you're in your protective mode. Like you said, it's the women in your life. You know what I'm saying? You know, wife and mom. But the thing is, too, though, why it's natural, and I'm just now understanding that. I've read it's in the it's in the Holy Quran too. But when we leave here, and not to go too deep, but when we leave here, especially as men, 2 of the requirements or prerequisites when God judges a man is how he treats his mom and his wife. After that, then I'm gonna judge you on your other deeds. But if you don't get past those 2 ones, then the other deeds don't matter to God. And that was deep to me. I'm like, wow, okay, cool, bet. So it is a level of my nature is to make sure she's good. Don't get to the point to where I'm damaging her emotions, right? Because mama gotta have a life, you know, do your thing, keep the drama away from me, but how I treat you and be there for you, because unfortunately she don't have a companion, right? So now I gotta kind of make sure she's good. It's just I would feel bad if I didn't. And yeah, man. So that's kind of heavy.
When I tell you last time, Ab, the last episode I was on, it's funny that you say that, Chaz, because I mentioned that exactly what you're talking about. How in the Quran it says paradise lies at the foot of the mother. Yep. So you know, and you're supposed to show that respect, you know, and that deference to your parents. Period. The paradise lies at the foot. You are not seeing anybody's gates, honey, and you not doing right by your mom. But it's just levels to it. You know, it shouldn't be crossing the line of inappropriate behavior. You know, it's been times where I might have stayed in my man's house for a couple of days. My son in here, I've been gone all day, all night. It's like, hold up. He'll just hit me up like, hey, mom, you know, I noticed you've been gone all day. I'm just making sure you're straight. I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'm where, you know, tell him where I'm at. He's like, okay, I'm just checking. All right, you have a good night. And he's going about his business. And it's the courtesy without it feeling like you overstepping.
Yeah. And one thing she told me she do, cause she know, I got family, so she like, it's a lot of stuff, but I don't call you, I don't bother you with it. I'm like, dang, you could have called me, I would have looked out for it. But as a parent, I think that is healthy. Just as a parent, is knowing that your son is looking at you and it is got you in the back of your mind, and it's the courtesy of like, even though you may have want her to call and say, if you need something, I got you. But the fact that she didn't was like, damn, that's all right too. Like, damn, she really, I'm going to leave him alone. I ain't going to bother him on these issues or whatnot, because I know he got a family, boom, boom. So I think, like you said, there's levels to it. And if you can juggle that dynamic and both can kind of be aware, have awareness of the dynamic, then I think it becomes healthy.
So, and one of the prime questions is, how do moms know when they've crossed the line line from being caring to being controlling? Like, how do you like jump on that? Like, I'm doing too much at this point. I feel like
that's the reaction you're gonna get. Hey, mom, you gotta chill, right? You know, it's like, hey, come on now. I think for me, like, there's times where it just, I'm really not a controlling person. Like, I really want, them to kind of I want him to find his way. I want to guide him. I want to, my focus is on giving him the tools to make good decisions. Because I feel like if I don't give you nothing else, I'm going to give you the components of making good decisions, because I'm not always going to be here for you to vet your decision making through. And I'm not perfect, but I feel like I definitely learn from my mistakes. And I feel like I always tell my son, smart person don't have to walk through the fire to know it's hot. You learn from other people's mistakes, because you're not going to live long enough to make them all yourself, but you need to make mistakes, because that's really how it instills in you. So it's like, for him, I try to give him that space, and it's like, you never want to watch somebody crash and burn or anything like that. But at the same time, it's like, I've had to remind myself how many times I've had to pick myself up for my own mistakes and not put that weight on my parents or anybody else. Like, you know what, you got to figure this out. He has the right to make his own mistakes and learn from them. It's what's going to build him. I feel like I'm in a pretty comfortable, successful place. I want better for him than for myself. And I feel like I'm doing all right. So I got to give him that grace. So it's like times where I want to be like, but then I'm like, you have to remember yourself. So I'm constantly reminding myself of my own upbringing and my own, trials and tribulations, everything I've worked for to get where I am. And I feel like, okay, I have to give him that same grace so that he can do the same.
Yeah, I think another thing, like, to piggyback off what you're saying, like, knowing when to get out the way and just let them make the mistake, is like, you can't rob somebody of their opportunity to build confidence. Like, you make a mistake and learning from it and rebuilding. Even in your example, right, with yourself, like, that's allowed you to be confident in situations that if somebody always was there to rescue you, you wouldn't have the confidence for yourself. You would have confidence in somebody else showing up. But that's not confidence in, like, I can figure this out. But if, what I'm saying, if nobody allowed you to make those mistakes, you would never be able to build that confidence.
That's his dad's story. That's another part. Is that that's his dad's story. Somebody was always bailing him out. Somebody was always, showing up for him in that way. Not that you don't show up for your kids, but not to their detriment. So it's like seeing that in him and seeing what kind of man they turned him into. I'm like, I don't want that for my son. So let me learn those lessons and let me know when to fall back and give you that space to grow and fail safely and pick yourself back up. And, mom always got your back. So I never let you crash and burn. You might crash. You ain't going to burn. I'm going to make sure you're good. I help you rebuild. But, like, nah, absolutely not.
Yeah. I think it's basically a combo of what both of you guys said. Being able to raise him to make decisions that will lead him in the right direction. So I may throw a little bit in there, a little bit of advice, and then there you go. You're going to have to swim, and you might sink a little bit, but you got the knowledge to know how to get back on top of that water. So just letting them try it, try and fail, and not fail all the way. Because I've always told him, like, I'm not going to ever let you hit rock bottom. Might have to scrape it a little bit, but I'm gonna try to do my best to like keep you on the path that we both decided you need to be on, and making sure these are his choices and not mine. Because even when it came to, do you want to go to college or not? And at first he wanted to go to trade school, and I was like, you sure that's what you want? You know, I'm like, well, and then I was like, all right, fine, that's what you want to do. Let's go ahead, like, but you're gonna walk through these steps yourself and show me what you want to do. Like, do the research, show me that this is what you really want to do, and then just watching him make the right decisions and choices along that path.
Yeah, I feel like your job is just to be like a safety net.
Mm-hmm.
Just be the safety net. You know what I mean, they're gonna fall for sure. You can't stop them from falling. That's never gonna happen. Providing the safety net is key. You know what I mean?
But I think sometimes it's hard as a single mom when you're watching your child fail and you're like, is it me or is it because of his father? Just because your father didn't do what he was supposed to do that you did this. And then I'm like, all right, no, it's not. Let me chill. But that's how I feel sometimes because I'm like, dang, like, or like the comparison thing where I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so child not doing that. Like, why am I acting like this? Like,
they gotta test the waters.
Yeah, then I have to like clock back in. Like, no, Felicia, he's a human. Like, he's not just gonna like automatically. It's not The Sims. You can't control every little thing that he's doing and make him become this type. It doesn't work like that.
Nah,
but
definitely don't work like that. Definitely don't work like that. All right, so we got another clip I want to run past y'all real quick. We can talk about it.
I was parenting.
There you go.
I know these feelings very well. Part of the reason why I know these feelings is because I was parenting my son out of trauma, out of my past experiences. And so I wanted to keep him home, keep him close, keep him safe. I didn't want him to experience hurt and disappointment and heartbreak, not taking into consideration that those things are what help him build character. Those things are the things that are going to help him become a better man for himself, for his future partner, his wife, for his children. He has to go out and experience life. And sometimes mamas want to hold our boys so close because we know that the world can be unfair and the world can be unkind. We are doing our children a disservice when we operate in a space of parenting from trauma. And so while he has gone on and he acts like you don't exist, adulting will bring him back. Adulting and coming to the realization that life is hard and that mom only wanted to do right by you, that is what will bring him back. You just got to give him the space and pray for him. Speak life over him. Speak life over your relationship so that he will also see you as human and not just mom. It's a level of respect that we get from our children once they have experienced what we've been protecting them from. Once they get a taste of it, they come back and say, Ma, you were so right. You were so right. I'm rooting for you, Mama. And I know that this is hard right now. I know this is challenging. Give him the space and continue to pray over your relationship, pray over your friendship with him. And know that you did right by him. Know that you instill good things into him, and they will come back. I'm rooting for you, baby. I see you.
Ooh, hit me in my chest. Okay.
I'm not obviously I'm not a mom, right? But I've seen this, and I could imagine, like, you know, moms not letting go, right? Because let's be real, man. Some of us don't make it out this world clean. Some of us, you know, we lose our lives. Some get locked up. Like some children do drown, right? Some do really crash and burn, right? So I can't imagine. And I've seen, you know, moms go through this, and my response is, I'm not a mom, so I really can't imagine it. Of why I see why they control to a degree, because if they do let go, some of the children that are raised, if they do let go, they're gonna crash and burn, and damn, you know what I'm saying? So you know, how do you navigate that part? And then the other thing is, you know, I do agree with what she's saying, but I think as a parent, though, overall, we have to remember that we're just a vessel that God gave us to use to help that child become a good person, right? It's really his child, not ours, right? So when we get to this is my baby, it messes up that child, and it do have resentment. I see young boys, young men, I should say, that really have mom or dad issues, really, but they vent at the mom and go beat up the mom for trying their best, all because dad wasn't there, but they hate moms. And all moms was trying to do was care and love them, maybe a little bit controlling, but they don't miss why she was trying to be controlling. But how do y'all navigate that part of, parenting, the fear of, damn, if I let go, it is a possibility he can crash and burn, even though I try my hardest to prevent that. How do y'all navigate that?
My son is the strongest person I know, for one. Like, I literally watched my baby fight for his life, after a literal crash. and so, like, sometimes he gives me that perspective, but it's just like, you gotta trust in yourself and what you're instilling in your kids at some point, because it's just like, I'm not a sink or swim parent. Sometimes kids get 18, folks like, all right, it's been real, good luck, and they just toss them out there. It's sink or swim. I'm not that type of mom. I feel like as long as you're being productive, you stay home as long as you need to get yourself to the space where you're comfortable. In this economy, I'm not in a rush, but it's not holding on to him for a sense of protection. It's me wanting you to be in a good situation, not one slight inconvenience away from poverty once you leave the house, because I don't want it to be a revolving door. Now, he can anywhere I pay bills at and I lay my head, it's home for him. But I don't want it to be a revolving door where you have to keep coming back because you keep making bad decisions and you're not you weren't prepared when you left. A lot of kids hit 18, 19, they get that 1 month security and rent, and they out. You've been doing cartwheels all through their apartment. They don't got no furniture, nothing. They're just happy to be out. So I keep a safe space here to where he don't feel like he got to rush to leave. I treat you as an adult. We have a mutually respectful relationship. And so you don't have to leave. I'm going to give you that berth to, that wide, not that wide, but a wide enough berth for you to make mistakes. And I, intervene where I see it might be needed. And I don't do it from a stance of me trying to dominate you. I just want to give you a little perspective. Hey, you thought about it like this. You're going to do what you're going to do regardless. But I give you a little bit so you think about it. It pays off when, your kids get a little older. He grown at 24 and he can actually come to me and say, hey, you know what, mom? Like, some of my friends I see, some dudes he not friends with no more, some he still are. And he see how their parents were with them and they kind of just let them do whatever. And he like, now I see that you really just cared. You really just wanted me to be safe. You really wanted me to be okay. Like, and I see that now, that what you were trying to do with me, and I appreciate it. And then he pays that forward with his sister when she acting up like, hey, I'm trying to tell you, man, mom's is on to something. Like, you might want to listen because, he been there with me already. And so it's just, you got to trust in what you put in your kids, because at some point they got to put it to the test. And it's better for you to see them start doing it than for you to wait till they're really out on their own in the world and hope that they're putting it to the test. You got to, while it's still that controlled environment, okay, let's see if you've really been listening and let them do what they do. And if they fall a little bit, it's like when you got babies. The babies fall. Most time they cry because you make a big deal out of it. Oh my God, are you okay? Then it's like, hold up. Then they start crying. But if you really pause, just let them fall, they'll pick themselves back up and go right back to it. So you just got to trust yourself.
Yeah, I agree. It's really just based on what you instill in your kids. Now, there are some kids who will still crash and burn and still fail, and they might have actually come from a great environment and great parenting. And some things really are just based on true essence of character and who they are, and that kind of, sometimes you have to forgive yourself and say, hey, I did the best I could with what I had, and that was still the outcome. But I just instill, try to build confidence so that he knows what to do, it feels comfortable in making decisions, knows when he gets around certain people who might not be doing the quote unquote right thing, but he can be like, oh, well, I know I ain't supposed to do that, versus let me just go ahead and follow what everybody else is doing. So I just make sure that he can trust himself. And that's because I built that trust in him to go out there and do that. There are moments though when I do want to control things, but it's just having those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important just to have the foresight, right? To like understand that like they only looking at it in the moment, but you have like a long-term vision on, and not to fold on that just because of how they are engaging with you in that moment. It's kind of like you got to kind of like be ready to like brush them off, just not, you know what I'm saying, not like completely, but understand that like I understand what I'm doing here, and you got to understand like keep that vision close to you. But they're gonna try to shake it for sure. It was a lot of things, decisions my mother made in regards to my well-being that I couldn't understand because I didn't have the foresight, I didn't have the understanding, I didn't have the life experience. So I'm butting heads with her with zero knowledge except for what you know what I'm saying, except for the moment that I'm living in.
Yeah.
That's the only scope I have at this moment right now. She has 20, 30 years of lived experience outside of me, you know what I'm saying, that she's pulling from. And I don't know that because I wasn't here. You know, so you got to be confident in the fact that understand, like, yo, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but I've been through this enough times to have more insight than you got.
Yeah, I mean that's deep. Yeah, I mean, I know as a friend of the family, right? Of course, I wasn't living in the household, so whatever the trauma he has, but like I knew Youngin when he was a little boy, like, but he homeless now. You know, he hate his mom though. Mom is, you know, try to do her best, but he really had that type of resentment where like I'm not rocking with you, and it just deep to me. And sometimes she beats herself up with that guilt. You know, my baby out here homeless. He don't want, like you said, he has a place that he can live with me, but he don't even like me. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he just got stabbed. He just got stabbed out in the streets. It's like, damn, you know. So it made me just look at even homeless people. I never look past them, but I look at them at even another level. Like, damn, this is somebody's son, somebody's baby. And I wonder what mental issue they have to get to this point. With you have a loving mom, though, that's saying you got a place to lay your head whenever. Yeah, you got to go by my rules to a degree, but you got a spot. But you rather say, F you, mom. I just, you know, I'm going to thug it out here on the streets. So I just find that dynamic kind of interesting.
That's sad.
Real sad, but it's true though. Like, you know what I mean? Only thing you can do in this life is do your best, right? Try to be genuine, try to be intentional, try to put your best foot forward. But we're not in control after that. Like we just not. You know what I mean? You kind of gotta accept that. And I'm not a parent yet, right? So I can't really. All I can talk about is the receiving end of that, right? I don't know what that anxiety feels like. I don't know what my mother's anxiety felt like when I was out partying and she was calling me at 2 a.m. and I wasn't answering. Like, I don't know what that felt like. To me, it's just like, damn, dog, like I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? You're doing too much. I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't know what that feels like from her perspective though. You know what I mean? So like until I'm in that situation, I can't really speak, you know what I mean, about it too much. Y'all have a different perspective, you know what I mean? A lived experience. So
a lot of times it's just you teaching a lesson. Sometimes it's an official lesson where you having that conversation. A lot of times you know, we're picking up by practice. So like my mom wasn't big on we're gonna sit down, we're gonna have this talk, we're gonna talk about this. This is what I want to give you this lesson. But I don't think she ever realized how much I learned from her just watching her. You know, like my work ethic I get from my mother, just watching her get up every day. Like I don't, and not that this is necessarily a good thing, but I mean, I feel like she just handled her business. She up every day, she's going to work. I can't recall, you know, in my entire life, like when she really was taking off? Like when was she really just calling out sick from work? Like she was getting up and getting to it every day, you know, things like that. So it's like it instilled in me like a hard work pays off. So I have those conversations with my kids, but I also feel like I try to just walk it like I talk it. So if I'm not saying it, you're going to see it in practice. That way you can't be like, all right, well, mom told me this, but she wasn't even on that type of time. Like I want them to see it too. But I do a lot more of the formal conversations that my parents didn't necessarily have with me. But my dad used to always say, hey, look, I've been your age before. You've never been mine. And that has been a staple in my household too, is reminding my kids that, hey, I'm not that much older than you. I had my son in high school. Like we grew up together. So like you're barely outside of my generation, if we're being honest. We're not that far apart. I'm not a square 65-year-old mom. Like, let's not do this. I know what time it is out here. So, you know, you don't have to act like I'm just so out of tune with what you're going through. Like I can relate to you, and just trying to find common ground with them.
Yes, ma'am.
I think when it's all said and done, right? Like, again, I can't speak from this perspective too. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it's like. But I do know as a man, there has to be a certain time where you let go of the reins, because again, he gotta figure this thing, because he's going to be responsible for a family one day. Right? And like even the expectations are just different. Like if we're being honest, like the expectations are just different, right? Like he's going to be expected to have certain things figured out at, you know what I mean, at a certain point. Like, and he has to be able to be confident in having things figured out. So if somebody, you know, ran his life for him up until he find a woman, and now he's expected to be Mr., you know, have things figured out, and he don't, because somebody else been making a decision this whole time, that not only is he going to lose confidence in himself, the woman he's with is going to lose confidence in him too. So now that's going to sink him further into a space where it's just like, damn, I really don't know what I'm doing for real. Like, I look like a man, I present like a man, but I don't know what I'm doing for real. Like, there's a lot of dudes out here that's like that. That's
Yeah,
like,
sure is.
you know what I'm
My
saying?
little brother is one of them.
Talk like
I have a little brother that's like that. Not even no funny, but it's just like he be going through things with his child's mother when they were together, and it's like every time y'all argue, you call him mom. Why are you calling mom? This is why you have respect issues with her, because she feel like, why are you calling your mom? And then my mom steady, don't make me come down there. And I'm like, Mom, no, we're not doing this. You got to let him figure this out, Mom. But he's the baby, so you know how that goes.
You know what I'm saying? That's something that if I could get a message across to a lot of the moms, I know you want the best for your situation for your son. I know you want to make it easy and light, and you want to keep him protected, but you can't do so much where he don't have the confidence to do it when you're not around. Like, he has to be able to be on his own too when you're not present. You know what I mean? Of course, if he needs you to the point, he'll make a call. He'll call you, blah blah blah. But like, don't cripple him. Trying to be. Don't cripple him while trying to protect him. That's the main thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my little closing remark would be, you know, again, I'm not a mom, right? I just study and watch moms though, but and I guess that's what makes moms so special too. Like when I said earlier, you gotta respect mom and your wife, but that's what makes mom special. The type of love y'all have is different. Because, you know, as a man, I'm seeing it, you know, I'm like, listen, hey man, he tripping, forget him. Like, you know, let him go, you know, but mom, that love is so deep, it's heavy to me, and it actually inspires me too. But, you know, the job of it is just, it's never to keep your child, it's just to prepare him to leave and prepare him for the world. And if, you know, if you do it right, if you do it with the right amount of love and balance and like knowledge and wisdom, then the foundation is there. They always go back to the foundation that you laid. That's why the beginning years really is so key, especially from the moment it's in the womb. We was talking this off camera. That's where the work began, right? When your child is in the stomach, man. What are your thoughts like? What are you taking in? How are you thinking? What are you watching? What are you eating? Are you saying any type of prayer over him? Like, the work begins there, and up to at least 7 years old, that's when the foundation of bricklaying begins. And if you, like you say, trust your work, man, your child, most 9 times out of 10 always come back. No matter the madness in this world that's going on, they always come back to the foundation. Man.
Indeed.
Ladies, do y'all have any closing remarks I want to lead the people with before we get out of here? I'll give y'all night back.
I just say, not for nothing, you want to have somewhere to stay at when you get old. So you got to make sure you're doing right. And you let them, give them that space and give them those tools. Because when you do it right, you won't be at Shady Acres Nursing Home. You're going to be in that nice plush guest room in your son's house. You can take care of when you get old. Look, if for no other reason, think about that. If you don't got nothing else in your forefront, think about that.
Right about that one.
Facts.
Sure. Yeah, I always think about what type of person you know, like you're dating someone's son. So what kind of person would I want a young lady to think that my son is? You know, is he being respectful? Is he a gentleman? Is he a leader? Is he making the right decisions when he's in the space with her? Can he read her body language to understand this is a yes, this is a no? These are things that I'm like, okay, let me make sure, beyond just being a provider and consistent and all of those things, like what type of man are you when you get around a woman and a lady? So those are things that I try to make sure I'm doing and building that I really focused on in the last 4 years. So that's something that's very important.
Yeah, that's definitely important. I don't think people talk about that a lot either.
Because I don't want nobody talking about my son like your mother didn't raise you right. Nah, he was raised right. Anything he doing outside of that is his own decision.
Okay, listen.
Individual at that point. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all checking in with us tonight. Another episode of Man in the Middle, episode 5. Yada, Felicia, Chaz, I appreciate your time. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your night. That's the YouTube thing, like, subscribe, and all that. Yeah, do that stuff.
You know it.
All that.
Perfect.